All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Coming at you tonight about the idea that you've been pawned, you've been played in this game of life, quite similar to a game of chess. You've been rooked, cornered, however you want to put it. So basically, we're going to start out with the first definition here, everybody. But before we do, I want to remind everybody, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you're on Hecklebus, go over to El Perro and do the same. And if you're on El Perro, likewise, go back to Hecklebus and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Help the analytics and algorithms. There's a PayPal button down there if anybody wants to share some love. And in the meantime, let's get on with it. We have pawn in etymology, the origins. And very simply put, the first sense of noun is something given or deposited as security. And as you can see, we've got a pawn as a noun describing a verb. Something given or deposited as security. Okay? So a noun is a person, place, or thing. This isn't a person and it's not a place, so it's a thing. It's a concept of something given or deposited as security. As for money borrowed, late 15th century, mid 12th century as Anglo-Latin pandum, from Old French pan, pant, pledge, security. Also booty, plunder, perhaps from Frankish or some other Germanic source. Compare Old High German fant, German fand, Middle Dutch pant, Old Frisian pand, pledge. So all basically meaning the same thing, pledge, as in like a pledge allegiance. From West Germanic panda, which is of unknown origin. The Old French word is formally identical to pan, cloth, piece of cloth. What cloth are you of? I tell you to put on the full armor of God, like David. Don't put on the national armor. Panum, nominative panis, cloth, piece of cloth, garment. And this formally was suggested as the source of both the Old French and West Germanic words, on the notion of cloth used as a medium of exchange. Rather than money, it was cloth. But Century Dictionary notes that the connection seems to be forced. Seems. Pawn, noun, second sense. Lowly chess piece. A piece of the lowest rank and value in chess. Late 14th century, pawn. From Anglo-French, pound, almost like noun. Old French, peon. Earlier, peon. And foot soldier. Foot soldier. Sojourner, as we mentioned earlier. And they prick the foot. And they make a mark because you're born on the infant ward. And one day, as you climb the infantry, you'll graze higher in rank. You'll get better and better grades. Upon at chess, from medieval Latin, pedinem, foot soldier. From late Latin, pedinem, nominative pedo, one going on foot. From Latin pes, genitive pedis, foot. From Pi root ped, foot. The chess sense was in Old French by 13th century. Figurative use of persons is by 1580s. but Middle English had rook and pawn, high and low persons. Thus, everyone. Everyone is a pawn in the game of life. Everyone is to give or deposit something as security, freely giving what was given freely in exchange for the prosperity, payment of money, borrowed, prosperity provided. From pawn, noun one related, pawned, pawning. Head, pawnbroker. One licensed to lend money at interest on pledge or deposit of goods. Did you make it good? Did you make that pledge or deposit good? We spoke about this recently. So let's go on to the next one. And let me check the chats and see if there's anybody down there chatting anything. Greetings, everybody. I don't see much for viewers, but oh well. Damsel Medic, I do see you down there, but I don't see anybody else. So greetings, everybody. Again, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. There is a PayPal link. If you have any questions, please post them there, or I will drop a link later if there's enough questions. In the meantime, let's get on to the next one. We're going to go to the U.S. Code next. And this is, make sure I'm on the right window, 28 U.S. Code 1782, assistance to foreign and international tribunals and to litigants before such tribunals. As I stance. You're going to have your ass in the air. They're going to plug your stance for you. No, you are foreign and not domestic. And as a foreigner, you are a lender unto the nations, and therefore they are gaining your assistance. And your assistance is the placement of supplemental facts on the record that only have presumptuous facts. The district court of the district in which a person resides or is found may order him to give his testimony or statement or to produce a document or other thing for use in a proceeding in a foreign or international tribunal, including criminal investigations conducted before formal accusation. Okay? So when you make an accusation in a publishing in the local newspaper that so-and-so was pulled over for DUI, you're making a accusation in the public forum before the criminal investigation is done. Okay? I'd also like to note that when they post that birth in the newspaper, that person that was found was a person found in a foundling hospital. Okay? And that informant, the use of the term informant shows that there's a criminal investigation going on. So when they place that personal name in that newspaper, they've made an accusation before the criminal investigation was conducted. It's an impossibility. How can a newborn child be born a criminal? Okay? That's 28 U.S. Code 1782. Therein exists an impossibility. Okay? The next one. This is a set of definitions in reference to firearms and weapons and destructive devices and things like that. Now, I know the AI might pick that up, but this is an educational and informational video of my creative content as I author it by using the public domain information as part of that informational, educational data. So it's not for any monetary purposes. It's for clarifications and the right to know and my right to express this knowledge. And it says, as used in this chapter, the term person and the term whoever. And if you're familiar with the recent videos, you'll remember bit, non-bit idiot Kerry Zolman, how he mentioned 1 USC 1. And we also did a little review of that on another video shortly thereafter. So we've already run across this a couple times now. And we're going to discuss it again because this is that familiar term from 1 USC 1. Numbers denoting words denoting numbers, gender, and so forth. And it says almost the same thing, but there's a distinct difference. The term person and term whoever include any individual, corporation, company, association, firm, partnership, society, or joint stock company. Okay, that should sound pretty familiar. So let's go over to 1 USC 1 and check it out real quick. This is the same 1 USC 1, words denoting number, gender, and so forth, where it says the word person and whoever include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. Words importing the plural include the singular. You catch it on? It's the same definition. They just put it in its plural form as opposed to the singular form here. They're just reiterating the same thing. So let's go back to 18 USC, what was it, 921 definitions. Let's get on to the next one. Interstate or foreign commerce includes commerce between any place in a state and any place outside of that state. So includes commerce between any place in the state and between any place outside the state. So includes anywhere. Anywhere. Or within any possession of the United States, not including the Canal Zone. This is the birth registration document importation zone. Or the District of Columbia, but such term does not include commerce between places within the same state, but through any place outside of that state. Now, if you remember, I talked about the postal union and how it works. If you're if your entity is operating within the administration, then you're entered into the mails. If you're private, then you go through the mail. And this is the point of error, because when that birth registration is entered, it's entered into an administrative schedule for a mailing system so that it can be communicated back and forth among the administration. That's it. Unlawful entry, unlawful administration, unlawful presumption. What is done is what ought be done. There is nothing new under the sun. You can't presume something new. Any place outside of that state. The term state includes the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and the possessions of the United States. Again, not including the Canal Zone. People recognize it says Puerto Rico. But it's only Rico that is highline, blue lined. And it stands for the RICO a Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. That's what they're speaking about here. Firearms. We're going to skip some of this stuff here because there's certain terms I want to get to. We're not really worried about the rifle and stuff like that, but we are worried about certain terms like importer. Means any person engaged in the business of. The term manufacturer means any person engaged in the business of. The term dealer means any person engaged in the business of. Any person engaged in the business of. Any person who is a pawn broker. The term pawnbroker means any person whose business or occupation includes the taking or receiving by way of pledge or pawn. Now, in this situation, they're talking about firearms. But it can be taken by way of pledge or pawn, a document of goods, a document of title, as security for the payment or repayment of money. So as I've said before, that paper document is known as money. It's a like-kind instrument that somebody else can hold for repayment of said money. It is a document of title, document of interest, document of pledge, document of pawn. It is an evidence. It is evident. It is denture. It is spoken. It is written. It is a comment. Evil. Denture. You're not supposed to be writing that shit, people. Enoch, Book of Enoch, chapter 69, verses 8 through 11. The next one, the term collector means any person who acquires, holds, or disposes. Again, this one here, particularly firearms, but you can replace it again with document of title, document, evidentiary document, various different things that include the money, the negotiable instruments. Every last one of them is negotiable, and that is your money. That is your legal tender, a negotiable instrument. You pay your debts with legal tender. So the term collector means any person who acquires. Is that under the federal regulations or federal acquisitions regulations? So that they can have an administration hold property in the interest of the United States and disposition that property at disposition hearings in an administrative court? Is this under the takings clause? In acquiring such things through a requisition, meaning they can only acquire it through the requirement, the necessity, and therefore have to pay for it in exchange and not just blatantly take it and say, okay, well, we're going to use it for public use and claim it as surplus or abandoned property. See, that's the lie. That's the deceit. You've all been broken. The term indictment. Here we go, folks. The term indictment includes any indictment or information. Mom was an informant, and like I said, that's the beginning of a criminal investigation in a court. That court is a Admiralty Maritime Court, and that person is under investigation. It is an investment, and it is not under the full armor of God. In any court under which a crime is punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year may be prosecuted. So if you find out that it's a error in the system and you try to point out that error and try to correct it, and they won't allow you to, that goes to RICO. Now we're talking RICO. Once you inform them of the impossibilities and they fail to correct it, and the errors, and they fail to correct it, and they fail to help sustain the state's budget and the debt of the United States, or the credit thereof, I guess, then they are involved in RICO. 15. The term fugitive from justice means any person who has fled. The person cannot flee because the person is the information acquired and held for disposition. The person cannot flee. It is a fiction. It must be moved by something else from any state to avoid prosecution for a crime or to avoid giving testimony in any criminal proceeding. So therefore, we find this is an impossibility. You cannot be a fugitive from justice by this definition because they use that term person. Again, you are not a person. Fourth Amendment. Everyone has a right to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. You are not your effects. You are not your papers. You are not your house. You are therefore not your person either, but in them according to the various statuses and capacities throughout your life. You wear different hats throughout the day. Those are those persons. If there's no public record of them, then there cannot be any fugitive from any justice. Let's go back to 18 USC, or excuse me, 1 USC 1, and talk about the words insane and insane person. Shall include every idiot, insane person, and person non compos mentis. Now, if you can tell me how a person could be a fugitive from justice, please do so. If you can prove to me that birth, that certificate of live birth with the name of the informant on it, noting that it is an information and it's held in a court and it's the naming of a foundling. The term indictment includes an indictment or information in any court. That property was then transferred to the registrar at the local county courthouse. And that's an indictment on the day you were born or there shortly thereafter, under which a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year may be prosecuted. I find that fucking impossible. Excuse my language. So anyway, show me on the doll where Rico touched you. Yes. You are funny. You are funny. I love it, Mars. Negotiable, yes. Professional victims. Yeah. Greetings, everybody. Greetings, everybody. Well, that's the end of it. We're hitting almost a half hour, and I don't want to make them too much longer. So make sure you hit that share, like, and subscribe button, Mitchell. I know you loved it. One of these days, I'll be able to show you guys how this stuff works. In the meantime, remember, I love you. I really don't give a fuck whether you love me back or not. So God bless, and just do your part. Quit believing shit. Don't believe me. Don't believe your neighbor. Don't believe your government. Crying out loud. Don't believe your mother. Do your research so you know. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.